Welcome guys to the part teaching strategies. This is probably one of the most fascinating parts for me when you look at teaching, because this is what makes a difference between a great class, an outstanding class, or a very poor class. And it doesn't have to do per se with the teacher, but basically with the strategy that he is using. Now, before I'm going to explain it to you, I'm going to tell you a very little story, and it's a true story, and it still fascinates me till today. What happened is that I had a student that was studying NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and I never heard of it, and she asked me if she could model me. And modeling in NLP means that I cannot be you, but I can try to be like you. So what they do is they start studying everything you do, your preparation, what do you eat, how much sleep do you have, and they try to kind of place themselves into your life to copy everything that you're doing. And then after a few weeks of studying, they come up with a model. And this girl was studying me in my classes while I was teaching, and what she noticed, because she was taking my classes for quite some time, and what she noticed is that when she took other people's classes, she said, one way or the other, you're just more effective. And she was wondering what it was that people learned faster in my classes in general than with someone else. So this is what she wanted to study. So from her NLP study, because she had to make a thesis, she asked me if I could be her model. So she started modeling me, and I was pretty amazed, because after about 3 to 4 weeks doing all kinds of interviews, having her next to me in the class, she had one mission, and that's to teach herself. And I must say, of course, I cannot say she was teaching as good as some of our other teachers, but she did a pretty good job in only 4 weeks' time. And I was like, wait a minute. After that session, she came actually here in this dance company where I'm standing now, and we sat in opposite of each other, and she said, okay, I have the secret. This is what you do. And she placed a piece on A4 paper with an entire schedule in front of me, and she goes, this is what you do. This is what makes your class so effective. And basically, guys, what she drew with all the schemes is what you will find here. And what I found out is that every single class, I have this routine, but I didn't know this, okay? I just did not know it, and I didn't know this. So I went into my class, and what I always do, I go behind the DJ booth. I always do that. I just was not aware. I always take a coffee. I always take a coffee before my class. It's almost as if my class cannot start without the coffee. And you know what? Without the coffee, I feel different, and my class is not the same. The same goes for my dance partner. When she comes in late, what I always notice is that I keep checking the door. This is one of the things that she noticed. She said, you keep watching the door till your dance partner arrives, and then you stop watching the door. So there is this whole kind of routine going on that we are not aware of. So guys, long story short, what happened is that I took that strategy and I put it into the teaching strategy that most people can understand easier, because if I would show you the schedule, I mean, it would take you an hour to figure out what the hell is going on here, okay? Now, what she basically found out is that what we are doing is that we have this step-by-step plan. And if you are already teaching, or you are about to teach, or you're taking classes, just check it out. I know for sure that 80% of what all the teachers are doing in the world, if it comes to dancing or even martial arts or yoga, this is what they do. There is always a preparation, okay? They always prepare. And for one person, it's preparing by sitting at home, watching some videos and getting inspired. Another one wrote it down and checks it on a piece of paper. Another one puts it in the phone. Somebody else takes a dictaphone. But there is a sort of preparation. If you are very experienced, like for example, I have been teaching for a long time to beginners. So indeed, if I go to my beginners class, I don't have to prepare the class. But still, there is a sort of mental preparation, knowing that I'm going to teach to beginners, and that's a complete different mindset than teaching to intermediate or advanced. Are you getting what I'm saying? So, there is always a form of preparation. Then this is a beautiful term. It's called CRC. And the first C is for the word contact. Okay, contact. Then there is the R, and by the way, guys, this comes from the world of fitness. Okay, from the fitness world, they're using this, and I will explain you in a second why they do this. The R is for response, and the other C is for complement or comment. So I repeat. The first C is for contact. The second C is for response, And the third C is for compliment or comment. Now, what they found out in the fitness world is that if I am teaching a fitness class and I'm walking around in my class and I make contact with someone, so for example, I go, hey man, you're doing a good job doing those push-ups, for example. I need to get a response in order to be sure that the person got my contact moment. Because if I walk around and go, hey, great job, and the guy is doing his push-ups and he doesn't hear me, then the whole moment just goes by. So there needs to be a sort of response. Then a compliment or comment, you either say, you're doing it fantastic, well, if he's doing it fantastic, or you give him a comment, but always in a positive sense. Wow, you're doing a great job, and, not but, and if you change this and this and this, or if you add that and that, or if you take this and this away, it will go even better. And that's the most important, because most people can build on success. If you start building on failure, there's not much going to happen, because the ego will immediately turn to itself, trying to give an explanation why he or she is doing what she's doing. So CRC. Now, why did they do that? Because once they're in a class with a lot of people, it's very nice that you make certain that you have a contact moment with everyone in the class, not just with one or not just with two, but with everyone. So in the fitness world, for example, if they teach, they say, okay, we need to get a minimum of 2.5 CRC, which means basically that the aim is that if you are in a class, the average amount of contact with each and every person is, for example, 2.5. So with one it's 1, with the other one 2 moments, with the other one 4, depending on the level, etc., etc. Now we're using it in the dance class, and it works fantastic because you can do the CRC in a group, but you can also do CRC one-on-one. Now, what you do the moment that you stand in front of a group, so you have your preparation, now you get in the class, and the first thing you might be able to do is you walk on the floor and you go, hey guys, who of you went dancing last week? That's making contact with the entire group. And what I do, I put up my hand, because when I put up my hand, it makes it easier for the audience to join me. It almost goes automatic. Who of you went dancing? Now, if they don't put up the hands, then for example, you go, okay guys, who just was lazy, didn't do anything last week, and then you put up your other hand. And like this, you get the participation of the audience. And what makes it work so well is because they get used to your voice. They start tuning in on the class instead of thinking about their work and the shoppings and the partner, etc. And now they're more getting into the moment. So there is always a moment of CRC. Then the third one is positioning. And those two, if you want, you can turn them around. If you want, guys, and with positioning, I mean, where are you going to stand in front of the group? And how is the group positioned towards you? And of course, if you work with partner work, with dancing, you can stand in the circle. You can make a group around you. You can also stand on the side or in the front of the line and make people stand like this. If you are doing footwork or shines solo, then usually it's nice to have the people in a row that they can watch you. Do not forget to change roles every now and then, okay? But there's positioning. But if you want, what you can also do is go on the dance floor and go, hey guys, please all take your position. And then you ask the question, okay guys, who of you went dancing? Because that has even more impact. Because of the positioning, they already heard your voice. They now take a good spot so they can start, and then you do this, okay? I wrote it like this because personally, I always make contact before I position them, because what I have noticed, I don't know how it works, but the positioning is only necessary in the first 2 classes. If people go to a class every week, the moment I start talking and I go, hey guys, who, you see people starting to take their positions. And you know what? Many times it's the same position. People have like their own spot, you know, in the room. So that's why I put it like this. I always make contact first, and then, if necessary, I position them, okay? Let's move on, guys, because this is the whole thing, you know, on one piece of paper, but I wrote it down for you. Then, what people like, and if you have watched the other videos, then you have learned about AVK. A is auditive, that's the explanation part. V is visual, that they can watch you, and K is kinesthetic, doing something. Now what you're doing here is you're giving an example. You're going to show them what you are about to do. This is, I must say, optional. Some teachers do just start. And for example, if they start doing a contrary body movement, or they go, okay, let's move shoulders, then many times the teacher will just say, okay guys, just join me, okay? Or he will start, okay, just move one shoulder forward and back. Then you do not have to show what you're about to do, but in most cases, 80% of the time, it's for a lot of people in your class nice when you give an example and they know what to expect. Okay, so that's the example. Then we go to the explanation part. And basically, guys, this is where your teaching actually starts. Because how do you transfer the information? How are you going to explain? So there needs to be a very thin line here. This is the part of explanation. Now, guys, and this is for me the most fascinating part of all, because this is what the girl found out when she was doing this whole research, that she goes, you have this, and she called it the circle of instruction. This little part is what she called the circle of instruction. What happens is this: you do an explanation, and you're going to tell them what they're supposed to do, but it's important that they join you. Okay, listen very carefully now. If you are going to explain what they are supposed to do without having them joining you in the exercise, it is waste of time. Think about it. I'm going to tell you now what you're supposed to do while you're sitting on the couch. And I'm going to tell you, okay, now, if you do this, if you cross your left foot over your right foot and you're not joining me, it's not going to work. So what we found out is that what I usually do is that I do not only explain, I have them joining the exercise immediately. Only if totally necessary, I might explain something while they're listening, but usually I'm not moving. I'm just telling them why they should do something. So here's the explanation. Now you are going to teach till the first, what we call pitfall. And what is a pitfall? A pitfall is the moment that things will start going wrong. So for example, there is always a certain part in the movement where people will make the most common mistake. We call this a pitfall. That's where things will start to go wrong. Making, for example, when people do a certain move and you see that when they use the thumb, things are not going to work out. So you're going to choose in your preparation where is your first pitfall, and you're going to explain it till that moment. So you're going to explain it. You're going to do your scan. I will go into that later, but you have to do your scan. We call that the quick scan, which means you're watching the people and you watch how they're doing it, and you're giving tips all the time. Okay, and I'm going to go into those tips a little later also. And you have cueing. Now, what is cueing, guys? Cueing is repetitive counting, and there is a whole chapter about that. Repetitive counting. You can do 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, or you can go left foot forward, right foot back, or single right turn. You can give comments while you're doing it, but what is very important is that it needs to be in the same time with the same words. Okay, but there is a whole chapter about cueing. So this is it. Now this is the little package of the first part till the pitfall. And usually what I advise you to do is to go at least till number 7. When you're dancing on 1 and you want to explain something, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, then you have a 1 full 8 count that you have done together, and then you will explain the pitfall. Okay, so go till count number 7. Now let's say that this part is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and there is a little difficulty, let's say on number 6. Then you will stop on number 6, you will tell them exactly what to do. Guys, be sure that you open your thumb, be sure to do this, be sure to do that, and then you finish till 7. So it becomes a little block. Then, and this is the secret, guys, you have to repeat it. And while you are repeating the movement, what do you think that happens with your tempo? Your tempo goes up. So you don't start counting 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7. If you keep repeating that, then nothing will change. So you have to kind of start speeding it up till it becomes a movement. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Now, what do you think is the minimum amount of times that you have to repeat it? We found that out also. It's a minimum of 3 times. Minimum. That means that if you are scanning the group, and you see there are still problems, you need to do it more. And many times what happens is, for example, give each other a high 10 and change partners. Because what's the problem with partner A might not be the problem with partner B. So by having them changing into the group, things will change and you can do your scan again, okay, your quick scan. What also happens a lot is that you give extra tips, okay? And again, let's go into those tips. What you do not do is go, hey, you. I can see that you're not lifting up your hand in the correct manner, because that person will feel very intimidated in the class, no matter what level they are. Well, I must say, in show trainings and stuff like that, you can do that. That helps, just kicking their ass, okay? But in general, you shouldn't do that, okay? Especially not in a class where people come to learn beginners, intermediate, advanced, everything, you know, to feel better and nice. Again, for show dancers, those are the people that kind of demand from you to be strict with them, because they are there to grow as fast as they can. So if you give tips, do it in general. So for example, guys, you have your quick scan and you see somebody making a mistake. And while scanning, you can see that, for example, instead of offering the hand like this, the guy is offering the hand like this. Or instead of doing it with your right hand with her left, he is changing the hands. You see that? Instead of going like, hey, you should change the hands, you can say in general, okay guys, be sure that you offer your right hand instead of your left. And then you will notice, if you go like, hey guys, be sure that, most of the guys will start listening. If he doesn't listen, you have to keep repeating it until he finds it. Most of the time, after a while, if he keeps not listening, I will go like, hey guys, okay, watching him, so he will be sure like, maybe he means me, okay? And then still there is a big chance that he doesn't get it, okay? So this is the whole point, guys. So this is part number one. Then, once you have it, you put up the tempo, you did it a minimum of 3 times, you have seen that the pitfall is now, let's say, survived, they got it. Now you go to part number 2. You go, let's say, to the second 8 count. And again, till the pitfall. Okay, till the second pitfall. And you do exactly the same. You explain the move while they join you. You're going to scan and you're going to give tips. And you're going to do it with cueing. And what do you think exactly? While doing that, your tempo will go up and you will do it again a minimum of 3 times. And now the magic happens. Because what happens now is they now have part 1 and they now have also part 2. And now you start actually cutting and pasting. You start connecting it together. So what happens is you now get part 1 and you get part 2 and you connect it together. So now, guys, let's say we have 2 times 8 counts. You can go, okay, guys, here we go. 5, 6, 5. We start with a basic step. And 1, 2, and 3. And 5, crossbody lead. 1, 2, and 3, changing hands, 6, 7. This is, for example, cueing. Now, for example, if they had a hard time executing the crossbody lead, for example, and you have done this whole part, then what might be a challenge is changing of the hands. So you do that, and what do you think? Exactly the same. While connecting those 2 parts, your tempo goes up, and you do this again 3 times. You keep doing this till they have it, and the most important is that you keep watching the group. Now, what is important about your positioning is that if you are standing in a circle, what is very important is that you do it both ways, okay? That means this. I'm going to show it to you on a separate piece of paper going into positioning. Let's say there are 3 ways of positioning yourself. You can have, I'm not the best drawer, but this is me, okay? And now I have a whole group with people behind me, okay? And let's say the whole group, you multiply this times 20 and blah, 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 and I'm standing in front of them, okay? That's the first situation. This happens many times, especially with footwork. If you partner up, you can do the same. You can actually place your partner next to you and show it to the whole group like this, and then people are still, if we have another here and another there, the whole group is here, people watch you like this, okay? That's another option. But what most people do when they are partnering up, they take the second positioning, and that is you in the center and all the other people around you, okay? Now, what is important is that when you are standing here with a partner, so you're now dancing together, what is very important is that you do it both ways. So one time you're watching that way and you let everybody join you, and the other time you watch the other way and you let everybody turn around. Why is that? For example, if I am doing a crossbody lead in my class and I'm going like 1, 2, and I open, then in this case, if I am the man here, I will watch to that way, to that side. If I do it to the other side, I can also watch the other side. So my scan cannot be complete if I do not change directions. The other good thing about this is that the people in the group will also see it from both sides, okay? Now there is also a third option, and the third option is what we call the U. Now imagine that you take those people away, or you place them on the side. You're not going to take them away, of course, but you place them on the side. Then when you are standing like this, you actually have the letter U. And some people, some teachers prefer this. Why? Because if they now start standing in this opening, they only have one side to scan, which is very interesting, because if you are having a circle, you always force yourself to focus on all sides. But if you stand here in the opening of the U, there is actually nothing going on this side. Now, first of all, you need quite a big room for this. On the other hand, if you try it, it makes sense. I don't like it so much, but that's just because I have a lot of experience working from a circle, but I have seen teachers doing this, and it works fantastic, okay? So that's the positioning. Let's go back. So, while you're doing part 1 and part 2 and you're connecting everything together and you're doing your cueing, so you have them all in your count, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, everybody's doing it, you can keep doing this over and over again. Now, I would advise you not to make more than 4 parts, okay, because otherwise people will have, first of all, a long time before they get it. And second, I would also advise you that in between, you need to play music, because they need to get the feeling of the execution on the timing of the music. But if you want, you can add another one, part number 3, part number 4. I would say put music in between, and then you can keep cutting and pasting till your whole combination is complete. So again, guys, go till the pitfall, finish the part till 7, higher up the tempo while you're doing your cueing, while you're giving tips and scanning at the same time. You can go faster and faster. The minimum 3 times. Sometimes you need 5, 6, even 7 times, but minimum 3 times. If they get it, you move on. Then you go to part number 2. Till the second pitfall, you first only do this, and then you cut and paste them together. And like this, you can go on and on and on. Okay? We're almost there. Now, what do you do next? Now they have the full explanation. They have the 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, however long it is. And then what I usually say, this is optional, is okay, guys, especially when you're partnering, do it 1 minute without music and without cueing. Because what happens is that if people are in a class and you stop your cueing, they have to do it by themselves. And what's very nice is that now people start cueing by themselves, which actually gives them another own instruction and become more aware of what they're doing, okay? So there is no music, no cueing, so completely on their own tempo, they're now going to execute what they have just learned. Again, guys, it's optional. I always do it in my class because it works nice, and it also gives me time to go to the DJ booth, play a song, watch the group, see if they got it, maybe still answer some questions before we go, and usually after 1, maybe 2 minutes, you can now go to music. Now, what is nice is, of course, I know teachers, they will now go, okay, guys, music, bye-bye. I'm going to have a coffee. See you later on. But that doesn't work. So what is important, guys, when you put on the music is that you are building the bridge. People come to a class and you're the bridge builder. You're the bridge builder between nothingness and the music. So what happens is you give them the instructions, now you play the music. Now you also start using your cueing, and preferably the same cueing as you were using before. So there is this complete, almost unconscious recognition of the count, and now translate it to the music. And when you start, guys, also join the group. So when we have just done, for example, 4 times 8, a certain exercise, and we now start dancing together, there is the music on a nice tempo, and as you might be able to guess, the cueing that I was using is based on the same tempo of the music. Then I start cueing 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and I also give them instructions what to do with the same words I was using before, and I am joining the group. And here we go. Now, after about 1.5 minutes within the music, or a little bit longer, I am going to step out of the group. So the people that are visually orientated are now getting a challenge, because many times if I step out of the group with my partner, you will see things going wrong suddenly. So what is important is that you give them what we call an anchor by keeping the cueing going on. So even though they cannot see you, the sound is being picked up and they will still be doing what you were doing, and most people will survive it like this. If you will immediately stop the visual and you stop the cueing and you just put music on, then you will see a lot of people getting in trouble. But by you cueing together with the music, they will go on. So here you go, you keep cueing, but you're not joining them anymore, and now you go, okay, crossbody lead, changing hand, turn, etc. And then after that, I do that about 2 or 3 times again, and then you go, only music. So then you stop cueing, and that's where the magic happens, guys, because this is what they were doing it for. The moment that they are on the music and you stop cueing and you stop joining them, then you can start walking around and you can go again back to your CRC from the beginning, and you can start paying attention to those that need it the most. Okay? There are always some people in the class, or most of the time some people that have a hard time. So the first thing you do is you start taking care of them, and you go to them and go, okay, because by then you already have seen what the problem is, so you can go, okay, man, I saw you doing this and this and this, and now you can start helping him, okay? So guys, this is the whole part. It took about 4 weeks for this lady to figure this out, this whole strategy. I have been using it ever since, and you know what's nice? Because of the structure, I don't forget anything anymore, because I always know that this is the whole teaching strategy. And what is funny is that when I start forgetting something, for example, what I sometimes forget is I put on the music, okay guys, try it. I always see that it doesn't work, because first of all, I make them used to this. That's, I have to be honest, because if I would do this every week immediately, in a while they will pick it up. But most people, especially on the beginners, intermediate level, they like you to help them. And now I can just see, hey, if I skip this, something different happens. If I skip this part, something different happens. If I don't give any personal attention and I start having a coffee, then a lot of people will not get it. So like this, it will help you to have a strategy for your class. Now, if you use it or not, guys, maybe you have your own strategy. I hope you like it. And I would definitely say give it a try, and see you guys in the next video.